Sa mga darating na araw, President Rodrigo Duterte will present his fourth State of the Nation address. As he enters into the legacy years of his presidency, the question is, what was his performance in the past 3 years and the first half of his term in office? Unang-una, pag-usapan natin yung ekonomiya. One of the big issues for the voters, whenever they were asked what were the most urgent issues to them is inflation, pagtaas ng presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin. As far as inflation is concerned, the picture actually has improved dramatically over the past year. Noong last year, October, inflation reached almost 7%, standing at 6.7%, one of the highest in years. So noong nakaraan na buwan, bumaba siya all the way from 6.7% to only 2.7%, which is well within the range ng preferred macroeconomic indicators of the Philippine Central Bank. Kamusta naman yung gross domestic product natin, which is the measurement of our economic health, or yung paglaki ng ating ekonomiya? From last year, first quarter growth of 6.5%, it went down all the way to 5.6% in the first quarter of this year. That's quite a slowdown. In fact, the Philippine government has been expecting growth rates of between 6 to 8%. So that's quite a downer. The good news though is parang mas inclusive yung growth natin. In fact, if you measure GDP per capita growth, so ito yung measurement ng improvement sa income ng bawat Filipino. Pagdating doon actually, things have been moving in the right direction with the GDP per capita growth rate standing at 3.9%. Number 2, kamusta naman yung legislative agenda ni Pangulong Duterte in his legacy years? Of course, yung pinakamalaking legislative agenda ni Pangulong Duterte is yung pag-transition natin supposedly into a federalized republic. But in order to get that, he will need supermajority in each house of the Congress, where there are still a lot of independents and oppositionists. Most recently, President Duterte, upon endorsing Alan Peter Cayetano, his former vice presidential mate, as the Speaker of the House, he made it very clear that federalism will be one of the priorities of the incoming Congress. And number 3, kamusta naman yung governance performance ni Pangulong Duterte in the past 3 years? Let's start with the anti-drug war. Ayon sa gobyerno, they have had huge achievements over the past 3 years. Unang-una, they have dismantled up to 318 drug laboratories since the commencement of President Duterte's drug war. At ayon sa ating mga otoridad, we have confiscated 24.4 billion pesos of shabu over the past 3 years. Oh, impressive, di ba? But let's not forget, during the last State of the Nation address, President Duterte said that while he may not care about human rights, he cares about human lives. And speaking of human lives, let's not forget the human toll of President Duterte's drug war. Ayon sa gobyerno, there were 5,375 individuals who were killed in relation to the drug war. And what about Marawi City, which was heavily devastated after a months-long counter-terror operation? Well, this month, July, was supposed to be the deadline for the return of internally displaced residents to their original homes. What about foreign policy? Over the past few years, since the entry of President Donald Trump, relations with the United States have somehow been restored. Huwag natin kalimutan, American Special Forces played a very pivotal role in helping the armed forces of the Philippines against ISIS-affiliated elements who laid siege on Marawi City. The other thing that makes President Duterte's foreign policy very interesting and yet controversial is the fact that he's very close to China. Pagdating sa kanyang strategiya is very clear. West Philippine Sea disputes ay dapat ma-downplay, at ang kailangan natin i-emphasize in our relationship with China is direct diplomatic ties and most importantly, economic ties, investments, trabaho. So far, the data shows that there has been a huge uptick in Chinese private capital investment in the Philippines. Pero pagdating sa Chinese government-sponsored big-ticket infrastructure projects, only few projects have hit the ground or have cleared the initial phases of implementation. But in fairness to President Duterte, when it comes to our relations with other countries, the non-superpowers, whether it's Japan, whether it's South Korea, whether it's ASEAN, our relations actually have been on a good trajectory. And that's the mixed baggage of Duterte's so-called independent foreign policy. For us, yun yung score sheet ni Pangulong Duterte over the past 3 years. Kayo, ano sa tingin niyo?